Hello everyone, good morning, and with honor, Miss Regina and all my fellow friends in CTI Group, especially in PT Vertus Technology Indonesia. On this occasion, I would like to discuss a brief explanation about server. Okay, before we start, I want to disclaimer first. The data contained been gotten from the material in Google Classroom that has been provided and another self-browsing experience. Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Nuari Ramadhan, and on this occasion, I would like to discuss a brief explanation about server. Okay, before we start to discuss about server, we should know first about the IT and how the computer system works. Because why? As we know, the server itself is a part of the information technology and it can work it can work just because there's a computer system uh, just because there's a computer system, sorry. And then what is IT? IT is the various methods of transform raw data to become unuseful information. So, the IT actually very help us to make our tasks, make our assignment accomplish more easier uh, because there's IT. Okay, and then there's the core IT infrastructure is divided into three important elements, such as the first one is compute, the second one is network, and the last one is storage. Okay, the computer compute classification divided into two elements. The first one is by size and it divided into five classification, and for the function itself divided into five classification too. And on this occasion we have to focus for the server. Okay, the server terminology and why we need it. What does server mean? Server is a computer that is able to serve data and information for multiple clients. Server is centralized over the clients and has the higher performance than workstation and desktop. Okay, and the servers specifically designed for the durability, and it means like server the roles of server is so important because it such the position of server is the central and it connecting to the multiple clients or the multiple personal computer around 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 the server, and it connected by the network, and all the multiple client multiple sorry I mean multiple client, it can access the data from the server. And then we need server to, the first one is centralized management, as I said before, and the purpose is to build to handle the high workload. because the server has because the server itself has large processing power, large memory capacity, and large internal storage capacity. So that the server is uh, have ability to handle the high workload, and then of the servers can keep the data more safe with redundant architecture, and then the design for the durability. Okay, server, its benefit and form. The benefit of server, the first one is server is a large. There's a large processing power in server itself and large memory capacity, and then large internal storage capacity. And there's four parts, four important parts that contain in server. The first one is there's a sorry, there's a CPU, and then the second one is there's a RAM, and then there's a disk, and the last one is there's a network interface card or NFC. And then for the form, there's a power server, blade server, and the rack server. And the new one is the hyper-converged infrastructure. And then for its characteristics, there's a fixed mount and fixed standing server. And it can be used depends on our needs or our necessities. Which server that we use according to our needs. Okay, and then the kind of server, there's two kind of server. The first one is public server and the last one is private server. The public server is usually used by public for daily activity, for exchange the information using the Gmail or Dropbox or something else, the messengers, the same with Gmail or another one. And then the for the private sec for sorry for the private server, there's a company mail, and it more savior rather than the public server because the private server itself um, using the particular elements, and not many people can use the private server because it depends or it rely on the IT infrastructure ability on the company or organization that use it. And then for the server role, the server role is divided. Actually, the role of server is so many. And in this time, I would like to present only certain of them. There's a file server, email server, database server, proxy server, mentoring server, web server, application server, and so on. Okay, we can continue to the server form factor and server room. Okay, for the server form factor, there's a rack mount form factor, server form factor, blade technology, and certainly we ask uh, when we use one of the kind of server form factor, and the answer is as simple as like what we need, how the space that we have in our room or in our organization, and then uh, what we call, and then what the server roles that we need to accomplish or to help our particular needs, and then how our financial ability to being able to buy the server, and then how our ability to serve uh, to provide the room for the server. It depends on our needs. Okay, and the rack mount form factor, the tower form factor, and the blade form factor, and the blade technology can be used uh, as our necessity. Depends on rely on our necessity. And for the server room, there's a relation between the server form factor and the server room itself. Actually, for the home for the server room is there's a four kind of server room. The first one is home office. The second one is office wiring closet. The third one is single tenant data center, and the last one is multi tenant data center. For the home office, uh, we just need a little space to providing the server, but there's a minus or the weaknesses when we conducted the home office as our server room, because when we connecting it to another computer or another server, usually there's some uh, obstacle when we consider the electrical cable to connecting the one server to another one. And then for the office wiring closet, we need to the particular or the particular room, and then but there's the weaknesses, but there's the weak it's such it the air circulation is doesn't stable, so it make the room feel warm. And then there's a single tenant data center. The single tenant data center is used by our own needs, and it independently and owned by particular member to what we call to maintaining their data, in particularly without any disruption with another parties. And then for the multi-tenant data center is the data center owned by not owned by some parties, and but the weaknesses is but the weaknesses are there's no free accessible to use the multi-tenant data center, because they owned by some parties, not by only one people. And then we should spend the big electricity power to use the multi-tenant data center. Okay, I think it's enough. And thank you. I hope my explanation will give us a good understanding about a server. Thank you very much, and thank you.